Welcome back to Cantina Customs, and here is part 2 of my series, The Fast and the Furious Mos Eisley Drift. In this episode, we'll highlight my custom Sorosuub V-35 Courier Landspeeder, which is the wedge-shaped landspeeder with those 3 rectangular boosters on the rear. This is a landspeeder that I have always wanted since I was a kid. The schematics on the top left of this screen are from one of the Star Wars technical journals or the West End Games source book. There are 3 different V-35 land speeders depicted in A New Hope. There's the yellow and white one that we see at the beginning of the Mos Eisley street scenes. There's a red and white one that zips by at the Sand Trooper checkpoint scene. Then there's the black and silver Lars family land speeder. In actuality, there was only one V-35 speeder for the Mos Eisley scenes that was painted yellow and white on one side and white and red on the other side. This prop was then repainted black and silver as the Lars family speeder seen in the background scene of Luke Skywalker in the garage. And since that speeder is just stationary, it gives us a better view of that cowl hood ornament thing on the top of the speeder. Through cinematic magic, ILM filmed the same V-35 speeder from different angles to depict 2 different speeders. Now you can just barely see the red stripe near the nose of the vehicle as it first drives by on the streets of Mos Eisley. Now at the Sand Trooper checkpoint scene, this same speeder is filmed from the other direction, showing the red striping. In the making of the Star Wars video, which you can see on YouTube, you can see the checkpoint scene from the other angle showing the yellow and white side of the speeder. Now I've combined still shots from A New Hope to give a better illustration of what the red pinstriping looks like. So you have a large stripe on the top and then down the side at an angle of the engines. You have a large stripe from the side intake at the bottom of the speeder all the way up to the front wedge-shaped nose. You've got a smaller pinstripe along the upper body that goes just under the canopy to the angle part of the nose, and then you have a smaller pinstriping that goes over the canopy and along the cowl. Once again, Lolly and Pop Studios, a local vendor, printed the STL files that I found on Cults 3D. Their print lines are super fine, and the quality and feel of the model is like a factory-produced toy. The file breaks the speeder into pieces, and Lolly and Pops did ask me if I wanted to print it in pieces or as a whole, and in hindsight, it may have been better to have the main body printed as one piece, but there weren't really any issues with gluing this together at all. Plus, having the rear engine section printed separately helped in painting the overall process. With all the pieces put together, the model measures about a foot long from the front nose to the back of the rear thruster. Once I glued all the main pieces together, I then spray painted everything in satin white spray paint. I masked off the areas for the yellow panel details and I dry brushed sunflower yellow until the pieces were totally covered. I also masked off the canopy, which is removable, and I spray painted the windshield area in gloss black. Then I painted the engine intake cylinders and the round cones. They kind of look like little speakers and then rectangular boxes on the side. I painted those in a light gray. I dry brushed various weathering lines to look as close to the actual prop vehicle, and then I topped everything off once again with an oiled earth wash. A special shout out to Yak Chewy, my friend Justin, who turned me on to using that oiled earth wash. I don't ever get too crazy with the interior details. Normally, I just hand paint the computer consoles gray and then I give everything a wash. There is a removable lid behind the cockpit area for cargo storage, and the cockpit canopy snaps in place using small tabs on the canopy section. You can kind of see a little rectangle box at the nose of the middle picture where the canopy snaps into the front. Here are a side and rear picture of the painted prop. I also added some brown detailing to the seats to make them look like leather. Maybe tanning bantha hide leather is a trade in tattooing. And now it's got me thinking, why haven't we ever seen a character with some green dewback skin boots? You know, like Michael Douglas's crocodile skin boots from Romancing the Stone. The bottom of the model has three molded wheels to make it look like it's hovering. The cargo area behind the cockpit is big enough to hold an astromech droid. You could add a Lego block or something to the bottom to create a platform for the droid to stand up a little taller. And someone with some 3D STL design skills could customize another lid to make a cutout to go over the droid to make it look more like a droid socket. Now, maybe that's some kind of project I'll look into later on of doing a resin cast and then dremeling out a droid socket for that lid. I love all the details of this STL file. The seats could stand to be just a little bit lower in the cockpit to make the canopy cover modern figures better. Human figures fit fine, but alien creatures like Greedo with kind of his spiky mohawk, they have to be squished down just a bit to get the canopy to snap in place. I get the feeling that some of these STL files were designed more for vintage or retro figures than the modern 4-inch figures. And I looked at different vendors who sell V-35 speeders and different STL files, and this one seemed the most detailed to me. So I am very happy with how this turned out, and I'm pretty proud of my painting and how the weathering looks. I may have Lolly and Pops print me another V-35 so I can paint one with that red pinstriping, but that is definitely a back burner project. That's it for part two of the Fast and the Furious Mos Eisley Drift. If you haven't seen parts one and three, go over and check them out. Make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And once again, thanks for watching.